What up, everybody? Is Trump gonna get indicted and get the death sentence for these new ones, or is it all just bullshit like the last ones? Should some of our politicians be deciding the fate of the country, or should they be in nursing homes? And there's some hood justice going on for people that are trying to mess with kids, and I hope you don't have cancer, because if you're getting cancer treatment, they have the right to deny you if you don't think exactly like the radical leftist. Stick around. We're going to start today's show with a little something we call hood justice. I'm not saying that it's appropriate, and I'm certainly not condoning any kind of violence, but I want you guys to see what happened when a you-know-what went to the wrong part of town.
Hello, guys. What's up, dog? What you come here to do, sir? You came to meet a little girl, didn't you? Get out the car before we call the cops on you. Okay. Come and talk to us. Get out. Okay. Step out and holler at me. What's up?
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
Holler at me. What's your name? What's your name and where you from? And keep your hands to the side, too. Don't even touch that phone, either. What you come here to do, dog?
I thought I was meeting up with someone.
Well, how? Who? Who is that? Meeting what with who?
It was someone I met online.
15. Well, how old was she?
I don't know. I don't remember how old they said they were.
Why not? Look at this shit. Look at that. Pick up your phone, matter of fact. Yeah, you see that shit? That's what happened when you coming around this bitch trying to meet little kids.
Okay.
Pick up your phone and call somebody. Okay. Call you. Who the last person you talked to? Your homeboy, your friend, your mama. Call your moms. Okay. Call your parents. Yeah, you see that shit? This Yak Town, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, you know where you at.
You got my vape?
Did you get the Amsterdam too? You got the drink too?
I
Get it. Pull it out.
Okay.
Pull it out. Hand it over.
Okay.
You got the drink and everything, huh? Where it's at?
It's over here.
It's in the trunk?
Oh, okay.
Pop the trunk and grab something stupid and I'm knocking you out.
I'm sorry.
Pedophile. Child predator. Pedophile. Pedophile.
He came to meet a 15-year-old girl. He drives two.
Yeah, you know what it is. Where the drink at?
Right there.
What the f? Oh, you got a big bottle of Savak. I should crack you with the... No, get your phone back out. Call your peoples. You finna call your peoples. Yeah, get your phone out. Expose his ass. What's your name? What's your name?
my name's Austin.
Austin who? Got your license plate too.
Okay.
Austin who?
He drove 2 hours.
Hey.
Austin who? Call people. Start calling people. We don't even want to hear you talk.
I don't know.
Because you know what you came to do, right? Call anybody. Let me see your phone.
Okay.
Go to your.
I don't know anyone who's up. I don't know anyone.
Man, I don't give a f who up. You finna make somebody wake up.
Okay.
You bought. Hit that nigga phone with the glass breaker. Hit his phone with the glass breaker.
You brought all this illegal stuff.
What you got? What you reaching for, nigga? Because I'll beat your ass off. You got the vape too? Give me that vape. Hand my man the vape.
Yeah, there you go.
Brought everything, huh? You know what happened? We called the cops. I don't even know if I want to give you your phone. Hey, Austin.
Yes.
You see what's going on with your brother? He's a pedophile. He out here trying to meet little girls in Pontiac and have sex with her. He trying to have sex with a 15-year-old girl. Do you give a fuck?
I do give a fuck, but
I know it's late, but this the type of this shit happens overnight. You know, these pedophiles come at 2 o'clock in the morning to meet kids.
Hey, I messed up.
You sure did fuck.
I've never met up with anyone before.
No,
yeah.
But
How many kids you with before?
Slick and you turned down this way and you went down there. We knew it was you already.
your brother's not a pedophile, sir.
Oh, yes, he is a pedophile. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't a child predator. What was the conversation about? What you say in the conversation?
Let me see.
What you say in the convo? You was trying to have sex with her, right? For some money?
No.
What you was trying to do?
Bro, this is exactly what would happen if there was no law enforcement. So, like, the left keeps pushing for, like, you know, get rid of police. This is what happens. You want vigilante justice.
The communities are going to protect themselves.
To be frank with you, this is better than what would happen to him in the justice system if we can just be honest. You know what I mean? Like
he'd be able to sue a cop if a cop was even being the least bit rude. And
right.
These guys are like,
he's probably going to be able to sue these guys.
You think so?
Oh, they broke his property. They did kidnapping to some degree. They made him hand him his phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's under duress. You know what I'm saying? Right now, he's basically being held against his will. He could spin this 1,000 different ways, but he was coming to bang a 15-year-old girl, bro.
And not just that, it sounds like these gentlemen are black So the justice system would have to contend with putting more black people in jail or giving them charges, which remember, the left said we're trying to take that down, right? Criminal justice reform.
What are they going to do?
What are
Rock
you
in a
gonna
hard
do?
place.
Right.
Thank you, Boob Shot Shakur, whatever the flip his name is. Let's keep watching.
Right.
Bought her a bottle of Saveca. I'm holding a bottle of Saveca right now. Big bottle. Big giant bottle.
I can't see right now, but you like whatever you're comfortable with. So you were coming to have. If
You know what you came to do.
Yeah.
How far did you drive?
I drove 2 hours.
He drove 2 hours from. Where are you from?
You can't tell me that's not pedophile.
Where are you from?
I'm from Marshall.
Marshall, Michigan.
Yeah.
You know where Pontiac is, Austin?
No, I don't.
2 hours.
You drove all the way to the hood, baby boy.
I did.
2 hours to the hood to meet a little girl.
I'm
for sex. You a piece of shit.
I am.
You are a piece of motherfucker. Hey, matter of fact, hold on. Hold this real quick. Now, don't. Hey, quit following me, nigga. Step your ass. No, you can't get shit. Hey, come here real quick, cuz. Hold this bottle of Saveca we about to drink later. I don't even like that shit, but nigga, f that. Where your keys at? You ain't got your keys? Where your keys at?
They're in my pocket.
Let me see them bitches.
Okay.
Let me see these motherfuckers. No, the car keys and all that. Bitch. You ain't going nowhere. You stuck in the yak.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
What just happened? What did I just watch?
Shit.
I mean, I was like, I don't even know. Where do I start? Where do we start with that?
Oh my God, I'm number one. Don't do that, anybody. We do not condone any kind of violence or anything like that. For clarity's sake, everybody out there in YouTubeville, we do not condone any kind of
Vigilante
violence.
justice. We will tell you.
But let me ask you a second question.
Police.
Let me ask you a second question. Do you think this dude is less likely to do this again than somebody who the authorities handled in a nice way, where he happens to go to lock up for a little while and then he's let go on bail for $1,000 a week later, or whatever the situation is? Who's going to repeat this kind of occasion less? Dude, this dude just got full blown, like, turned upside down, tail in the air. You're this. He had to say it on camera, bro.
And you see how he was just like very like, you bitch ass, and he was like, okay. Like, yeah. I mean, he was definitely he was taken aback. That was the definition of taken aback. He didn't know what to do. And the thing is, you're asking if maybe he'll do it again. You don't know. His junk sucked into his body.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if it's ever going to come back out. But if it does, you're right. I think he's not going to be thinking about using it on anyone underage.
This is like scared straight for minor attracted persons.
Right. I mean, 15, we know that we had this conversation about like 15-year-olds when we were in high school, and they would go and date like the 20-year-old guys and stuff like that. No, guys, you need to be vigilant. Okay, guys need to protect themselves too. The thing is that he had no self-preservation, that he was willing to risk that with a 15-year-old girl.
Oh yeah, like that means you have no life. Like, well, I don't know. I do see some of these people that have like whole families and they come do this stuff. You saw that one where they made the guy call his wife of like 50 years?
No.
Oh, there was another one where they like made him call his wife of 50 years and like explain it to her over the phone, and he's just like,
no, I haven't seen
and the
that.
wife's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like she like full blown flip out, which I felt kind of bad because it's not her fault that she picked it. Well, you know, it's not her fault that you never know if somebody's crazyville when you marry them. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is this. I can't think of a way to hate what I just saw.
Exactly. I was kind of like, ooh, it could go south real quick.
I mean, like, if we would just remove American culture from this, and this was like a random village in like Africa, they would have had the machetes out, and homeboy would have lost his limbs.
He would have been talking.
Yeah, they would have cut his tongue out, slowly chop the head off like they do in all the freaking cartel videos when somebody looks the wrong way. Like this is kindness. Like this was kind to him. All they did was break his glass and throw his phone and throw his keys on the roof. Oh, he's inconvenienced for 5 hours. Like, and his name's out there on the internet. Like,
if he would have gotten caught with the 15-year-old. Now think about this. What if it would have went the other way? He would have got caught with the 15-year-old. You're talking about being for the rest of your life in most cases, right? On the list.
Which Apparently, this wasn't in California, so this is Michigan. But in California, they got rid of that law. So that if there's a 10-year gap and you're 15 and they're 25, you can decide whether or not a person goes onto the list if it was man and female. Now it's even if it's man on man or female on female, then it's the same thing. It's not mandatory. So like if a gay man who's 21 messes with an 11-year-old kid, wasn't it the gay senator from California that brought that up? He was either a congressman or a senator. Probably. And he's like, I don't want to go on the list. Stuff. Yeah. Well, because if you did it to a girl who's underage or whatever, then if it was two opposite genders and you did it and it was a difference in age, you have the obligation where you don't have to report them on the sex offenders list because it could have been a mutually whatever. Right. But if it was ever gay, then you always had to go on the sex offenders list if you did it. And they were like, that's discriminatory to LGBTQ people, which I do understand what they mean. They are kind of right. I understand what they mean. But they shouldn't have changed it. They should have just added LGBT relationships to that. Like, there's only like a couple of these that make sense. Like 27 and 17, even that I don't like. Right, because the man knows better. 28 and 18, I'm like, I don't know, man. Y'all getting close. This is some weird shit. That would technically mean 22 and 12. I was about to say a 20-year-old and a 10-year-old would be okay. Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah, you need to go on the list, bro. If you talk to anybody under 16, like, you need to go on the list. Yeah. Even if they're 16, like, I'm like, dude, there's all kinds of different 16s. There's 16s, then they think like a 4-year-old, and then there's 16s that think like a 20-year-old. Depends on their life. So, like, you just never know, dude. This stuff is a slippery slope. In this day and age, though, obviously he was on the internet because he was communicating with this person. So he's probably well aware of, he's well aware of basic internet culture and stuff like that, and he knows better because he's obviously on there that it is not kindly looked upon these days. It's not like it was when we were coming up. It is not. Why'd she have to wait till her mom got home? Right, like she's texting, my mom doesn't get home till 8 o'clock, and he's like, okay, that's enough time. I'll drive 2 hours. Bro, how are you horny that long? I said this to young men back in the day a long time ago. If you're ever really worried about your purity and like you're going to go with a girl somewhere, like, dude, I'm not saying it's the best option, but take care of yourself before you go out to see anybody. So that way your brain is clear, bro. Like, how are you going to drive excited for 2 hours to meet a 15-year-old and the whole 2 hours you didn't have any kind of, like, within 2 hours. So are you suggesting you didn't have any self-reflection component in the two? You know, he has warning lights in his mind about this. Right. That's what I mean. He has to know. So for 2 hours, you were going, warning light, no, it's worth it. Warning light, no, it's worth it. Ooh, is that a cop? I was just going fast and I might have done something illegal. Speaking of illegal shit, I'm about to go meet a 15-year-old. Warning light, no, I'm dealing with it. I'm going to do it. Her mom is home or not? Warning lights. Right. And you're just you're just taking care of it. But this guy was like, no, like, I'm either going to go big or I'm going to go home. And that's like, you deserve the amount of shame that was just given to you. If you like, dude, if you don't police yourself, people will police you. That's what I mean. If you don't police your own thoughts, culture will police you, which is where this whole movement is taking us to. This whole MAP movement where minor attracted persons are like there's nothing wrong if there's no victims. No. You have to police your own thoughts. Yeah. You are not allowed to let your thoughts run rampant. The same thing when I'm changing one of my children's diapers or something. There is obvious walls mentally where I don't even think that way. I can't even think that way. And even if I ever did, then every bit of shame and whatever should come with that because I crossed a boundary mentally that you should never cross. The same way you can't think about your father in a sexual way or something. It's like, oh no, there's a big old wall right there. Why? Because I erected that wall out of the safety and precaution for society and decent human existence. Like you have to submit to certain rules inside of like just society. And one of those rules is that sexual deviancy it should be judged. It should be looked down upon. I agree. We need to bring back judgment. This new culture, like you're saying. No shame. Don't judge people. Shame everybody that does stuff that's bad. Right. Only God can judge me. Well, yeah, that's true. But we're here to help guide you, okay? So that when you do get to that judgment, maybe it'll be a little bit better. But no, you're not allowed to say anything. Yeah. You see the OnlyFans model that went to the movie theater basically half naked, and it's this big debate online. Like, she should wear what she
wants, whatever, free girl. No, no one should judge her. So what? She was going to the movie theater. No, it should be judged. It was inappropriate.
Right. If you were in a
don't go
thong,
to a movie theater.
Right.
No.
If you're in like, scantily clad clothes and my son is walking by, I'm going to be mad.
Her was out. Her whole butt was out.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But it comes from, and why is it even a debate? Oh, because we have half the people or however many percentage loudly online saying, you shouldn't judge. They should be able to do what they want, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is where we're going to end up. The 15-year-old and however old that Alex person was, now that we know his real name. But I like your suggestion, too. You're basically saying that if he had some post-nut clarity, he might have made a different decision. If
he had post-nut clarity, he might have made a different decision, but I don't even want to get that far. Like, the only way that you can even, like, here's an example, okay? I don't want to go down this route because it's gross thinking, but, like, I don't even want to know what that guy thinks about while he's taking care of himself, in order to arrive at post-nut clarity.
Good point. Yeah,
you know
you're right. You have to police your own thoughts.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You have to police your own thoughts. Like, you cannot go into Defileville and come out unscathed. You know what I mean? And if you do, then the society will police you. Right. And luckily, they did it in this really kind way where they broke his windows instead of his bones. You know what I mean? But, like, this is, like, hopefully the greatest wake-up call on planet Earth to this guy to, like, get your shit straight, bro.
Hopefully.
Because it's not acceptable. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is, like, these minor attracted person advocates are basically saying that there's no wrong in thinking. And there is wrong in thinking. You're not allowed to let your mind run rampant with different things and fantasize and weird stuff. And a lot of it is just to get off in this weird sexual urges that people have. And it's just like, dude, stop.
More. Life is so much more.
Right. And honestly, in the words of Lil Wayne, as soon as you finish, you can think clearly. He says it more elegantly, but I don't want to be too vulgar. But either way, like, as soon as you're done with that, you think so much clarity. So with so much more clarity. And it's like, I don't know.
Actually, it's funny that you said that. I have heard a couple of, like, dating people and stuff like that say the kind of the same thing, because a lot of times guys will go, like, going on the dates with these pretty girls or whatever like that, and they're not thinking right, and they miss a bunch of red flags that when the relationship goes completely off the rails, and in hindsight they're like, oh yeah, that was a red flag.
She did mention she didn't want kids and wasn't interested in being submissive on the first date, but she was in that super hot black dress, so I don't think I heard her.
And you weren't thinking right here. So yeah, I think it would benefit a lot of people, actually.
That's why the culture war from the left has been to constantly wear down the religious and social restrictions on sexual deviancy step by step, so that we have no grounds to draw some arbitrary line at any point.
And isn't that a big thing in the Bible too, right? Like the whole thing about lusting. They make a big deal about it in the Bible.
You shouldn't look at a woman lustfully.
And people argue against that. People say, well, why should we be trying to control people's thoughts and things like that? And now looking at it, especially from an adult point of view, and with a situation like we just saw, that no, you should be policing your thoughts, because a lot of people argue that, oh, well, that's in someone's head, as the map people say. Oh, well, if it's up here and it never goes anywhere, then it should be fine. But
right, but that's not the way the world works. No thoughts happen that don't become actions eventually. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you don't have repetitious thoughts. That's why, yeah, like even if I find myself inside of my marriage being, like, frustrated about something in my marriage or something like that, I don't allow myself to stew on that the way that you would when you're starting to become resentful about something. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, you're not even allowed to go there. You're not even allowed to go to Resentville. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't even be upset about that. Nope, police your thoughts. And that's when you ask the Lord. But these people don't believe in the Lord. They're just like, no, nothing matters at all. And then they end up doing crazy shit. Anyway, there you go.
Well, and do you think it's kind of funny? You know, we know this from being more conservative leaning online, and we leave comments, and we're active on social media and things like that. They find your comments when you mention normal ass words like vaccine and needle and shot and all these other fun, censorable words that we probably can't say here, right? Because we'll be censored. And yet they cannot find these people with a profile that says 24 and a profile that says someone's 14 or 13 or 15.
Right.
Talking together.
Right. Well, they can. They just don't.
But they only know when we're using certain words, because people were even saying, like, they were watching Instagram messages and things like that. Like, that's how close these tech companies are trying to censor and stifle the speech of conservatives, is they were looking at messages. But they can't seem to find these kid-loving people. Interesting. But they can find your comment in thousands of comments.
Right.
That says something that they don't agree with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really telling.
Yeah, it's more than telling. It's not the goal of the system to stop that kind of stuff, you know, and I don't understand like why that. Well, you know, I think the world, what we're seeing is people getting away from Christian values.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening. And then it just plays out over time. And then you go, oh, that's what happens when you don't think that there's actually dignity in human life. You abort babies at 9 months and then you have no problem sacrificing more of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, think about it. Even like, you know, tribal peoples and stuff like that, they still war with each other and think it's okay to just kill each other and, you know, rape each other, take each other's women and things like that. That's
right.
We'd be like that.
Right. That's like how the world is.
I mean, I don't know. You're right. Going away from the biblical stuff is definitely where we messed up. For sure, as a society as a whole.
Well, so let's dive into that a little bit more. So I'm going to show you guys another category where stuff is obviously going too far, right?
Okay.
Where bad ideology is turning into massive human mistreatment in some weird way,
All
right? Cancer treatments.
Very
Can we pull
important.
up this? Can we pull up this this story?
Oh, see, but they even said, yeah, they did get rid of her for that. Look, they quoted it here. Effective immediately, you are discharged from receiving medical care at the Richmond Family Medicine Clinic. This
So it
action
is because of that. So
Yeah.
that other article.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, everybody, is if you look up this story and you go to the Newsweek article, it basically mentions nothing about the fact that the place literally got rid of this woman because of saying specifically that she had her views about the LGBTQ community. In fact, they act like it had nothing to do with that and they make it all sound like allegedly. But when you really read it, the actual hospital or the place that provides medical care said to this woman, effective immediately, you are discharged from receiving medical care at the Richmond Family Medicine Clinic. This action is being taken because of ongoing disrespect and hurtful remarks about our LGBTQ community and staff. Please note that you are also now dismissed from all OHSU family medical clinics, including immediate care clinics. So that
not
was the
just
message.
from that, you can't even go to any of the branches. I mean,
And
what
then
if
when she tried to leave a message with the doctor about her medical situation, the receptionist refused and insisted she make an appointment. When she called back, she was still refused service. That she had a transphobic remarks, and then a few weeks later, the practice manager, Steinberger, messaged her to say that she had made transphobic remarks and harmed the staff of the inclusive clinic.
Damn, she made a really good comment. Look what she said, too. The trans movement says a man is allowed to define being a woman by way of his feelings, but that a woman is not allowed to define being a woman by way of her material reality. So really, it is a men's rights movement, dangerous to women and children. She is right.
A woman was denied medical care at a place because she disagreed with the trans stuff. They got mad that she didn't want to, she was
She just
voicing
voiced-
remarks about her distaste for that kind of thing. And they said, well, fine, you can get your cancer treatment or your treatment somewhere else. Right. And they discontinued allowing her to do it. She had to call back. They're like, no, if you want to talk to us, set an appointment. They did the petty thing. Right. Well, okay. So in America, right, we did have court cases recently where in the Supreme Court, you're allowed to deny having to make a cake for somebody who's gay and all
Right.
that stuff. But these people are supposed to have the belief that health care is a right. That's their side says healthcare is a human right. Healthcare means that somebody else has to care for your health. So that's not really fair to say that it's a right. But if you're going to say on the left that you think healthcare should be a right and then deny people that right afterwards because they don't agree with you, all you're doing is basically enforcing what we think. And that is that your morality dictates that you can treat people poorly, including and up to potentially them dying, if they don't agree with your ideology. So I was like, man, that's so hard. And I made a video about all this, Tina. I made a video about this. I'll pull up my video real quick so you can see it. But then I want you to watch what somebody said in response to my video.
And the thing is, too, all they had to do is just be like, well, ma'am, we celebrate transgenderism here. If you'd like to go to a different clinic, I'm sorry this makes you uncomfortable, but this is what we do here. That's all you have to say.
Right. And
Because
that's
I'm
fair.
sure people are offended by numerous things, little desk weights and stuff like that. And all you have to say to the person is, oh, I'm sorry you're offended by that, but this is what I got here on my desk. If you want to go to someone else's desk, you can go to someone else's desk. Or, you don't have to come to mine.
Right. It's that simple. oh, look, it's a girl getting cancer treatment, and there was a trans flag at the cancer treatment facility, and she didn't like that because she thought it was associated with a bunch of different things. So she voiced that opinion, and they canceled her cancer treatments. Potentially a death sentence. Agree or die, I guess. And these are the people that are going to be stepping into leadership roles in different categories, dude. It's the same exact spirit that was operating during the pandemic, right? When if you were unvaccinated and you had heart issues, Jimmy Kimmel and them were making jokes saying, well, sorry, you have to deal with that. Hope you die on your own. These people will slit your throat so fast, dude. So fast if you don't agree with their lifestyle. It's definitely about time to draw some lines in the sand about who you're going to associate with, unfortunately. So that was my video that I made, right? And then this other guy who's on the left apparently responds to that video with his own response to it. You got to see this thing. It's ridiculous because he just enforces it. The basic premise that we're talking about is that it's like in our worldview, even if I hate your guts, I don't want you to die.
Right.
I don't want you to die.
Right.
Even the kid that was coming to meet the 15-year-old kid, I don't want him to die. I want him to be really rehabilitated because I value human life.
Right.
That's the biblical precept that's encompassing all this. Why? Because if the Lord didn't help me, I'm sure I would be evil too. So therefore, every human has dignity. You know what I mean? Well, so that's part of it.
Look what happens when someone on the left dies. The conservatives, most are quite graceful and they don't say anything bad, even if this person was awful or made some awful policies, whatever.
Right.
Of course, a few a-holes come out. You're going to have a-holes on every side. Don't know what to tell you. But when someone on the conservative side dies, the left celebrates. Blue check marks celebrate. All of them celebrate death.
About time.
Right.
Hope your mother never sees you again.
But we're not allowed to say anything. But when one of the a-holes that we don't even care about that associates with our side, even though we don't like them, says something about their person dying, all of a sudden the entire right is condemned and everything, and it's awful. How dare you say something about someone dying? They were a human being, even if you didn't agree with them, blah, blah, blah. But they're allowed to do it with us.
Well, look at this. I want you to see this because it just showcases the different versions of morality, because essentially the left has been arguing for years in this undercurrent of an argument that their morality system is superior. They're like, that's just your dumb white rules. You don't even know what it should be. So they're advocating for a new version of morality. That's what's happening in the world. They are advocating for a new version of morality where their version of morality is adopted. So let's see their version of morality. And they canceled her cancer treatment.
Not you trying to make me feel bad with the epic emotional music in the background. Not you telling me about somebody being denied service merely a month after a whole Supreme Court case where it was decided that people could discriminate against gay people based only on the fact that they are gay. Not you doing that. She can go get her cancer treatments anywhere. Maybe there's a nice hateful cancer center that would love to treat her. It's not my fault that people in healthcare tend to value human life, all human life, and they don't agree with her hateful opinions. She probably should have thought about that. For real, though, I don't give a fuck if she dies. I really don't. In fact, I hope the rest of her probably short life is miserable, since she's perfectly content using the little time that she has left making other people miserable. That's called karma. And you know what the irony of it is? For all the conservative values that she still has cancer. And gay as I am, I'm living my best life celebrating it. So, good job.
Yeah.
The irony of him saying, he said all human life is valuable. And then immediately said, she can go die.
Yeah, she can die. They value people's life. Unless you're not trans or approving, and that's the thing. It's if you don't approve of them, you're not human. That's what this comes to. So what happens is we let your morality version win, right? And you get to control things, and then you're okay. You hope that she's miserable and dies. You're hoping that someone's miserable with cancer and dies, bro. That's evil shit. I don't want the worst human being in the world to have cancer and have a miserable existence. Like, that's just, I don't want that for people. God doesn't want that for people. But there's no God on that side. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everything's permissible. Nothing's unacceptable, except if you do the unforgivable, which is to deny that the idea that they want you to agree with to comfort them. Isn't that crazy?
And it's just an opinion. She didn't do anything. She didn't hurt anyone. It's just her opinion. So what? You just tell her, sorry, lady, this is our flag here. If you'd like to go somewhere else, you can. If not, put your insurance card down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Everybody's different than us. The next thing, you know? Like,
right.
That would have been the end of it.
Hey, that's what we have here. If you'd like to go somewhere else, you're free to do so, ma'am.
Yeah.
And it's not, and the thing is, look how he's trying to convince.
And her sentence was legitimate. Her sentence was to them.
It was, actually.
It says, her sentence was, I have been given rape and death threats from people underneath of the trans flag. So when I saw the trans flag, and she was talking about on Twitter, she's like, I've been given death and rape threats from people underneath the trans flag on Twitter. And when I saw the trans flag in the office, it made me feel afraid or whatever. And so she was voicing something that the left in any other scenario.
I didn't even catch that.
In any other scenario, the left would have been like,
they have trauma.
Yeah, they have trauma. She's a black woman and there was white people working there. And so she imagined that her ancestors, which were slaves underneath of slave owners, it was happening right to her.
Right.
So any other scenario, they would have been totally fine with. But in this scenario, because it threatened their baby, right, their mental weakness to say that the world better conform to what I think it should be like, or else it threatens my very existence. You don't even agree that we exist. That's always the argument. You don't agree that we exist. And it's like, no. We don't agree that you can say that you're a full woman if you transitioned from a man because your DNA disagrees, bro.
No, the problem is they've been trying to. No, the problem is when they said, oh, by the way, you have to teach your kids about my bedroom life too and things like that. They've just crossed so many lines. It's not about acceptance anymore. You know, they don't even, because they never cared what we thought before either. Like when they would cross-dress and stuff like that, they didn't care what we thought of them.
Right.
But now it's because we are not allowing them to do unto our children or shove it down our throats in other ways, you know, in entertainment and things like that. That makes us the bigots. They never cared what we thought. They never cared.
Yeah, they never care what we thought.
We don't care what you think. Okay, cool. But
yeah.
Now it's a problem. Now the think is a problem. What happened? I thought you said you didn't care what anyone else thought. What happened?
Yeah, they think it in their mind. It doesn't mean that. But you have. But the way they think of it is you have the positions of power, and therefore you're like you're lording it over everybody else. And it's like here you are with the trans flag telling me I can't get cancer treatment.
And that's
or
not
medical
even the problem.
service, whatever the stupid thing is. So this won't get fact checked. God, I could tell a story about Joe Biden freaking smothering owls with his hands, you know, just killing endangered owls. And there would be a fact check on it that says, no, this is false information. And it would be 15 paragraphs.
Like
and then at the very bottom of it, it would say he was smothering them with mittens, not with his own hands. And they would like fact check, and then nobody sees my shit for 90 days, bro. Yeah. Like that's where we're at. Like I have to tiptoe around every damn thing I say because the same people that were telling you about in these stories are the people that run social media, bro. Like it's that simple. The same type of shit, you know, the same ideology, the same godlessness, the same whatever. And that's fine. They can be that way, but we have to recognize that it is what's happening that way and stop giving these people the benefit of the doubt. Well, you got to fact check on this thing, so it must not be accurate. Now, everybody else, I'll be honest, a lot of people will message me and be like, hey, they warned me before I followed you. Credit, bro. That's a badge of honor. You know, a lot of people say that to me, and that's cool. But there's 60% of people who click on my profile about to follow me, and they go, oh, Instagram just gave me a warning like I'm a bad person if I associate, just like they do with the social credit system in China. Yeah. And there's a little bit of like he's a bad guy. I don't want to be associated with the bad guy, and I'm a sheep and I can't think for myself, so therefore I'm not going to follow him. And that's what happens. You literally lose followers for 90 days, right? Well, they take thousands of my money. That's what happens. I lose thousands of dollars when you get shadow banned. You know what I mean? There's no way around it. Right. And so it's like, this is what happens. And most of the times it's BS. And most of the time it's defending people that are doing evil shit.
I know. No, that was absolutely egregious. How he just like said that and then tried to say, oh, because all human life is valuable. Well, then.
Not hers.
Not hers. Yeah. Right. See, I love how they're allowed to have caveats. They're allowed to have caveats.
Yeah. They're allowed to hate certain people. But we're not allowed to say that men are men and women are women.
Or we just have that opinion. And if that's what you want to do, boo-boo, go do it. But don't let that bleed into my life. And that's the problem, is that all their shit is bleeding into our life, whether it be with their kids, you know, all this shit. It's crossing into my personal space. That's why we care about it. We're not denying you exist. If anything, we know you tell us every single day, we know you exist. Congratulations. Me too. We're both here. Okay. Get to work. Make a change. Do something. I don't know.
Yeah, make the world a better spot.
Right. I don't care where you put your dick or don't put your dick. I don't care.
Right. And I haven't cared.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't cared.
Care.
If you're going to ask me a personal question about how do I think your life will be, then I'll care. I'll be like, oh yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. Oh, here's why. Here's why. Here's 55 reasons that I think you shouldn't do it. But I don't care what you do.
Exactly.
Go do you. Just don't try to act like it's normal to involve kids with this shit.
Right.
You know, and try to tell me that like it's weird that I'm appalled to you trying to show a strip dance to 7-year-olds.
Or little books with how to do fellatio on same sex and stuff.
Seriously.
That's not cool. That's not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay. Not okay.
There's nothing
but
wrong
we're
with
starting
saying
to
that.
win the culture war, though.
Yes.
Just over time, we're starting to win the culture war because they can't hold back the tide of everybody that thinks like we do. You know what I mean? But
even moderate liberals, and I know that's it doesn't sound like something that exists, but I think that there are like moderate and level-headed liberals and stuff like that. Even they are like, yeah, kind of. I don't want my kids to see that. I mean, I love you, boo boo. Do your death drops. Put on your wig. Yes, queen. Yes, but I really don't want my kids reading your book. That's not unreasonable.
right, I don't want my kid walking into the library without me there and then happening to see somebody performing oral sex on another person, and then it's also same sex and encouraging me to do the same thing.
Right.
I don't want my kid reading that without me there, or ever, actually, ever, until they're 18, and then maybe they're allowed to read that stuff if I'm not around.
Right, exactly.
Because even my friends, if they were reading that, I'd be like, hey, what are you reading? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's weird shit. Garbage in, garbage out. Oh, and by garbage, I mean what makes society not function.
Right.
If you want to be real clear about it.
Focusing, and if you really think about it like this focal energy on something just so, it's animalistic. It's down at this level. Human beings, we have soul and consciousness, and we have this complex brain, and there's so many things that make
there's suffering that's out there that's happening rampantly, and we're trying to solve it.
Well, yeah, and there's happiness. There's so much more. There is suffering, but there's happiness, and there's so much more to
life,
the human life,
to the existence,
being a human being,
overcoming hardship,
right,
becoming a conqueror, and thriving in an environment that's difficult to win in. There's so much.
Right, but
what do they make us focus on?
Just your fucking dick or your fucking vagina.
Right, that's it.
Either or the absence of it. It's just about your sex organs.
And your fetishes. Your dog outfits and your freaking stuff, and you want to be accepted.
It's about fucking, though. That's all it's
Everything's
about.
about sex. Right.
And it infuriates me because I know us human beings, I know we are capable of so much where we're just so complex, and we, like you said, suffering and happiness and all the things in between, and so things that we can accomplish or fix,
right,
or things
and
like
what
that.
Does our entire culture glorify?
Right. That's it. When we're trying to tell kids about fucking.
Right.
I can't stand it.
Different kinds of it.
Goosebumps, being so fucking angry about it because that's all it's about.
It is. That's all it's about. It's sexual deviancy, and it's what it is. And where it comes from is the same place, and they won't admit this yet because they don't know it yet. But there's a whole entire movement called "Do What Thou Willst." Right? It came from the Church of Satan, is what Aleister Crowley started it. Right?
Oh, I have heard that.
And so there's a whole entire series you can go watch, and it's a little bit done up, and it's kind of dumb, but it's called "I Sold My Soul to Rock and Roll," and it basically explains the entire music movement as a whole started to say that I do what I want, do what you want, do what makes you happy, and it comes from the Church of Satan, which is do what thou willst. That's the whole entire thing. And what does thou willst? What do you do? Like when you're allowed to just do whatever you want, where does it always end up? Sexual deviancy. It always ends up there. And if you tell people they can't do it, if you tell people they're not allowed to do it, you know what I mean? You're going to come up against all kinds of demons. And that's what happens.
Right.
That's what's happening. And they're just fighting with the tools that America lets them fight with, and that nice Christians allow them to get away with. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, nice, polite Christians have allowed for this kind of a thing to occur instead of snuffing it out where it should have been snuffed out ideologically.
I mean,
YouTube,
the
not
thing
in
is,
real
though,
life and not against people, but ideologically.
There's nothing wrong with we were talking about earlier. All right, acceptance, and I just have to accept that that's what you're gonna be doing over there. I don't have to like it or whatever. But again, you're keeping it over there. It's not about acceptance anymore.
Right,
it ain't
no.
about that anymore. And you're right.
It's
Maybe
not even
you
about
were too nice.
no. It's not about it. It's not about tolerance anymore, because that's
Right,
where the
there
line
we go.
should have been
Yeah,
drawn.
yeah.
The line should have been drawn at, oh, I don't accept that at all. That's crazy. But you're allowed to do what you want in a free country as long as it doesn't affect other people in this weird way,
Right,
whatever.
right.
So you can do what you want in your closed doors.
Well, they were saying that the nice Christians were no. They were forcing it not to happen and stuff like that. And it's just kind of like, okay, I get that, and we got to live like we're in this free country, like you said, and we got to live as neighbors, but it has gone way above tolerance.
Way
sure.
above. And you know what? And this weird fetish and obsession with everything on the left has just made it so they're not effective at anything. You know what I mean? Like the people in that category that think like this, that are so progressive that their brains fall out, all of them are bad at what they do. Look at everybody that Biden has hired to be his cabinet or whatever the flip. The Pete Buttigieg, who's supposed to be caring about the transportation system. I've never seen more trains derail as main headline news and how dangerous it is for everybody than ever before. I've never seen frickin' the nuclear waste guy, whatever his name was, frickin' robbing everybody's damn luggage. You know what I mean? I've never seen that. And then here we have another example of a woke activist who's basically been given this amazing role as the woman's leader in national women's soccer or whatever. And look how that played out. Right.
Maybe you were focused a little too much on activism and not enough on repetitious behaviors that could have maybe made the goal.
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about this other thing in life, the soccer, being a women's soccer, U.S. women's soccer team representing the United States and everything like that. And it's a big thing. It brings people together. It's so complex. And what was she focusing on? Fucking.
Right.
Stuff about fucking.
Right.
God, it's so infuriating. It's so infuriating. And she sucks.
Right. And she sucks. And she biffed it for them.
I mean.
And then when they ask her in that interview afterwards, hey, what's your most memorable moment
yeah, we gotta play
hey,
this.
let's talk about your athletic career. What is your most memorable moment about it?
Is there a memory that stands out to you right now in this moment?
I mean, probably equal pay chance after the final. And I think, they were saying equal pay, but could have been saying a lot of things. I think this team has always fought for so much more, and that's been the most rewarding part for me. Of course, playing in World Cups and winning championships and doing all that, but, to know that we've used our really special talent to do something that's really changed the world forever. I think that means the most to me, and the players in this locker room here, they're just getting started, and to all the players that I played with, obviously, who know what it's like to be in the grind. That's the best part.
Oh, probably when we got equal pay. Oh, so activism, not anything athletic. Got it.
And then it turns out, it's been debunked. If you watch the YouTube lawyers, like Nate the Lawyer and all those other people, they looked at all the papers for, what's it called? Depositions, stuff like that.
Equal pay.
No, the court documents. There we go. Just generalized court documents. It's hard for normal people to read because they make it impossible to understand.
Right, it's 18 pages
legal.
to say 3 things.
Right, exactly. So the YouTube lawyers have been going through all the paperwork and basically saying that the women's team was getting a better deal.
Right, they were getting a better deal. Of the percentage of the money that was coming in.
There you go.
Yeah, if you wanted to get a percentage of the $7 million that you guys generate as revenue, then each of you would have been paid $9,000.
Well, guess how much?
But instead you got paid $70,000 or whatever it is.
Did you hear about the differences? Women's soccer brought in, I believe, 200 or 300 million. Let's call it 300 million. That's how much they brought in. Guess how much the men broke in?
It's like $9 billion or something.
$6 billion.
Right.
That's a big difference. Sell more seats. Go out there to your women's marches and sell your damn soccer tickets.
Right.
Since That's what you need, all the women behind you, right? Why aren't they buying your tickets? Why aren't they going to your soccer games? Why aren't they buying your jerseys? You should be richer. Even if they didn't go to the soccer teams, okay, buy the person's jersey because they get a cut of that. You'd be just as rich as the men.
Right.
Nope, they're not wearing your fucking jersey either.
Yeah, they don't care about you. They don't care. Nobody cares. You're not creating a spectacle which generates revenue. That's the whole point.
The problem is the media made her think. Did you know that Victoria's Secret picked up Megan Rapinoe?
Yes,
as a
I remember that.
What the? I stopped buying my underwear from there when they brought her on. I was like, oh, because it wasn't.
It's not
appealing.
you anymore. Yeah, you're not. This isn't like the angel line that they had for so long.
Beautiful women trying to be beautiful women.
Women in elegant shape, trying to become the perfect specimen of themselves, and like that's like a look. If I was a girl, I would try to it would be fun to perfect the beauty as well as I could. You know what I mean? I get that. As a man, I feel like I'm supposed to perfect how to generate revenue and how to be able to provide for people.
Masculinity.
Yeah, my masculine energy or whatever, and I feel like I need to get in good shape too. You know what I'm saying? Like I have all these different categories of expectations, but it's like these girls don't have to play by that rule because they're on the left. It's like you just get to escape society's expectations. It's like, okay, well, fine, you can do that, but guess what happens? Nobody cares about you. That's what happens.
Well, the media tried to tell us, no, you care about this. You're going to think like making her Victoria's Secret model. Yeah, you're going to think she's sexy. Did you even see the pictures too? She did them. Let me see if I can see them view front. She stood like this and like put her forward and looked and was like that, kind of looking real like masculine.
Right.
That's not sexy.
Right.
What? Why? Why would they even pick her out of all the soccer players they could have picked? They picked her. Because the media was trying to tell us, no, she is important. She is saying important stuff. They were trying to shove it down our throats.
Right.
And we said no. Most of America said, no, you sound stupid. And with the blue hair, you look stupid, Megan.
Right.
Get off the microphone.
And nobody respects you. By the way, all of us that procreated and have kids and are, all of us, like that's the thing. These people expect that everybody who's normal, meaning 90% of the population who's been procreating since forever, and our parents did, and their parents did, and their parents did, we're supposed to pause everything and listen to this person who doesn't have any kind of procreation power, and we're supposed to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna live our life based on you. No, we have nothing in common, dude.
And
I have nothing in common with you.
She has to tell us how we're supposed to handle kids and the subject of transgenderism when it comes to kids. But you're right. No, I didn't even think about that too. She doesn't have a kid. Like she doesn't even have a kid to be like, oh, okay, well I can understand what these parents are going through. No, but we're just supposed to listen to her because she was at one point a decent soccer player, and they did kind of well. What did they do good in the Greek Olympics? Right, that was a long.
They won
time
something
ago.
5 years ago or something.
Yeah, exactly. See, and now they think this is why nobody watches women's sports too.
Well, have you seen it? Have you seen them? That's really the reason.
It is so
That's
boring.
really the reason. Like, you want to watch all layups in basketball? Like, no, you don't. You don't want court seats to all layups. You can go to any high school game anywhere and see the same amount of excitement from a boys team.
And they refuse to. The thing is, too, is that the girls refuse to. I bet it could be made more entertaining.
Sure.
Besides making outfits a little bit more womanly,
skimpily.
especially
because I have seen that with the football league where the girls are like in like push-up bras and like basically booty shorts and they're just tackling each other.
Which I think they could at least.
Which I'm not gonna lie, if I was a heathen in the world and didn't love God, I would probably like watching that show.
But what if they did this? For soccer, make the field smaller. Go smaller. So because they have to run so fast, and the men can move. The women, it takes a lot to move on that same size field.
Right.
Same thing with basketball. Lower the hoop.
Shrink it by 30%. Everything shrink by 30%.
I want to see them dunking on bitches. I want to see it all. I think it would make it exciting.
I saw a video the other day where it was just a bunch of average dads, and they lowered the goalpost a foot.
Okay.
And these average dudes were like, the UPS drivers and stuff were just dunking on each other. And it was just like, this made this way more fun to watch. They could do this with the girls' sports tomorrow. But it's like, no, they want to try to act like they're equal.
No, we're better than the men. Like, have you ever heard Brittany Griner herself, I believe? There is an old clip of her.
I can't stand watching that chick, dude.
I know. Well, before all this.
Her tits are always out, too, as if they're not tits. And they don't look like tits. I get it, but they're still tits.
I know. I've seen her. She's like before the whole Russia thing or whatever. And she legitimately said to an interviewer that she thinks she could like compete with some of the best basketball players in the world. She was dropping names. I think she dropped Kevin Durant and everything, but she thought she could like compete with them. I know. But in her mind.
So did anybody take her up on it in a YouTube game of
Someone-
first 1 to 5, and then she got beat 5-0?
A couple people have done commentary on it. Nobody's actually challenged and done it because then like
I'll
Russia
do it,
happened.
I guess. I'll play her.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll play her. I'll go learn basketball for 3 years and then play her.
Well, wait a minute. You'd have to probably do it in silence because remember when Alex Stein was asking Brittany Griner some questions in a public airport and just asking her some questions and things like that, she was really traumatized and everything. So you might not be able to talk smack during the game. So just be aware of that.
Right.
That's why nobody wants to watch women's sports because women are soft as hell too.
Right.
God.
Yeah.
Or
it's true.
yeah. I'm not
So
gonna say
apparently, Trump's going to jail for forever. Apparently, and the round number, what is it? 15th
can't
time they've tried to
believe-
get this guy.
We're talking about this again.
I
So
know.
apparently you told me today there's more indictments,
38.
which I didn't know about.
38 more charges on these new indictments, apparently.
So should we take a little peek at those?
Yeah, let's read about this so we can tell everybody what's going on.
All right.
All right, let's read it out.
Breaking down the 78 charges Trump faces in his 3 indictments. Okay, they include 44 federal charges and 34 state charges, all of them felonies in 3 jurisdictions. 4 charges in the federal January 6 election case. Federal prosecutors are investigating January 6 on the Capitol by Trump. So they're charging him for, here it is. Count 1, conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government. Conspiracy against civil rights and 2 counts of obstruction. He was already found not guilty of...
How are they putting that? Can you explain it? Just read the article. It's fine.
Okay. Conspiracy is a broad legal term meaning 2 or more people plotted to break the law and took steps to do so. Conspiracy does not have to be successful to amount to a crime. In this case, Trump and a group of alleged co-conspirators, unnamed but many identifiable through prosecutors' descriptions, are accused of scheming to reverse the election results and keep Trump in power. The 3 conspiracy counts relate to the myriad ways they allegedly tried to accomplish that goal. The 4th count, attempting to obstruct an official proceeding, arises from Trump's attempt to stop Congress from certifying Joe Biden's win. That's not how that works, but okay. 40 charges in the classified document case. 32, willful retention of national defense information.
Oh, okay. So basically they're saying each piece of paper is a felony.
Each piece of paper, yeah. 6 related to obstruction, withholding, or altering documents, and 2 false statements.
And 1 library book that was overdue.
That's essentially 1 count for each page.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that is. Each of the first 32 counts of the documents. Yep, that's basically it. Some of the documents contain military intelligence and other sensitive information that could harm national security if exposed. Okay, so then why did the FBI release pictures of all the papers on the ground then, if it were that important?
Right. Uh-oh, you exposed it twice, sillies.
34 charges in falsifying business records. These are just all a bunch of... each represents an alleged misclassified campaign expense. I think they've already done this before.
You said limo here when actually this was a taxi.
Right.
We knew you lied.
Right.
Pay the fine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's basically... It's a bunch of repeated charges. So yeah, that's what they did. They made like each sheet of paper a count.
Yeah, okay.
Even though it's like, this is page 2. Yeah, that's what it is. That's
This is
why
going to
it's
work
so
out
many.
great. But what I've heard is on the upside of this is that he's going to have subpoena power now to prove certain things, where he's going to be able to call certain election officials in and make them actually give testimony about what they did and didn't do with their ballots and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people that are ready to testify about that stuff to prove, because he didn't get a chance to bring a lot of his stuff to court. Everybody's like, Trump has been beat in court about election fraud 60 times. No, he went to court 3 times. The other 57-ish times was they brought something and then the governing body said, because you were not a harmed party, you are not allowed to bring this case to us.
Oh.
It would be like you witnessed your neighbor beating up another neighbor and you brought that case to the police. The police
But
would
I
go,
wasn't the victim.
you weren't the victim. You
Okay.
can't bring this. So
All
that's what
right,
happened.
okay.
So everybody says there's been 60 court cases that were thrown out about the election. No, there's been 3. And he won one of them or
Right.
something. And then the other 2 were like dismissed on something.
Right.
And then the
This-
other
yeah.
57 were never allowed to brought forward because they didn't have standing, meaning the person bringing it forward wasn't a harmed party. So anyway, this is going to be a great opportunity for him to bring a lot of those people forward. Hopefully it plays out in court over months of them dragging this through. Hopefully they let him bring these people up. But anyway, I doubt it. We'll see what actually happens and how it plays out.
I have a question for you. This is related to another candidate. This is a little news that you might have already heard.
Wait, the judge on the court case for Trump.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry.
Maybe we should show that real quick.
Yeah. No.
And not only that, the judge in this case is completely in cahoots with bad people. Or not only that, let me say it like this. Not only that, the judge in this case is completely compromised from someone who would be an objective third-party person trying to give legitimate application of the law to this.
Just biased.
Look at this.
This judge you just said needs to recuse herself. Can you illuminate for our audience why?
She was a lawyer at Boies Schiller when Hunter Biden was of counsel there. She was a lawyer at Boies Schiller when Boies Schiller represented Burisma. That's not even the center stage. This is reserved nosebleed stuff. She and Boies Schiller represented Fusion GPS, same corrupt government gangster affiliated firm that concocted the Steele dossier and paid through the FBI to lie to a federal court to surveil Donald Trump on the original sin unlawfully, Russiagate. This is why she cannot preside over the Donald Trump indictment. The original case in the matter is Russiagate. It always goes back to it, and her firm has represented that. But she made a misrepresentation to us.
That is absolutely bombshell stuff.
That should be grounds for immediate.
Has to be.
Immediate. She's biased as hell.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to, like, this. Anyway, all of this is kangaroo court stuff.
Right.
Banana Republic stuff. So what were you talking about?
Okay, so what do you think the majority of the conservative voting base, how do you think they feel about the 2020 election, now that we're allowed to talk about it being
potentially rigged?
Weird.
Right.
What do you think is the percentage of the conservative voting base?
Conservative voting base?
That says
70% to 80%.
I would say easily, yeah, 80.
Yeah.
80%.
70 to 80 easily.
So now Ron DeSantis, we know he's running against Trump and everything, and he's been asked this question a couple times, and he skirted around it mostly. He finally answered it the other day. Do you think that there was 2020 election fraud? Because a lot of the conservatives, besides Trump, have been avoiding that question because it's so. You still have conservatives that say you just didn't like the results. You know, he won fair and square. Blah blah blah. Ron DeSantis came out and said that no, he thinks that the 2020 election was
legit. Wow, that's a stance.
I was about to say, I think he just alienated a lot of what would have been his voting base. What do you think? I think he shouldn't have said anything.
Dude, yeah, he shot himself as soon as he decided to run for president. He shot himself in the foot so bad. Oh my gosh, so bad. He should have known that nobody's going to be able to go up against Trump.
I mean, the thing is, too, is that it tears our voting base apart, too. You know, it's kind of like, that's the problem. At least with the Democrats, they get on the same page. Even if it's a terrible idea, they're at least always on the same page.
Right, and they push for what they want, and they organize well, and they ballot harvest well.
Right.
Like, they raid those old folks' homes and say, we'll bring you popsicles for a month if we can have your ballot. You know what I'm saying?
You want Jell-O? Give me your mail.
Yeah, you want the green Jell-O? Yeah, I remember that one lady, whatever her name was, that got arrested for it, that James O'Keefe had video of. Yeah. Where she was like, oh, you want to vote for somebody different? Well, that's not who we discussed last time we talked. We discussed that you were going to vote this way. She was like literally telling them, you better vote the way I said. Yeah. You know, type of thing. Like, it's crazy. And yeah, she went to jail. And that's right. Zero fraud happened. Speaking of which, even if fraud does happen, and even if they could hold people accountable, none of our politicians are even of capable mind to try and do it. Look at these people. Pull up this picture of Dianne Feinstein, Jeff.
The picture of a video. Have you seen the video?
Plenty. Yeah, where she can't even answer questions. She's literally answering the question wrong.
Yeah, did you see she was turning to her aide and she's like, oh no, you're supposed to vote yay on that.
And then she starts talking, I feel like that there's a reason that we don't need to have. I mean, look at this, dude. The Crypt Keeper is alive and well.
And she's sitting right there.
Dude, like,
and didn't you just...
Who is keeping this chick on ice?
Didn't you tell me today?
She signed power of attorney or something over to like her children or something like that so that they can like help make decisions of some kind. But whatever's happening here.
How is that being allowed?
Obviously, guys, this is like Theoden and Grima Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings.
Oh my gosh.
When Theoden's like so old and crusty because he's been like just basically poisoned for years.
Right.
And then Grima's just like in the closet and he's transcribing everything that Theoden's saying.
Right.
And he's like, why? You know, like just the complete lies from the pit, dude.
Right.
Anyway.
He's exhausted.
What was the promised price, Grima?
Right. Right. No, that is a good way of putting it. Like, that's what they do with, Biden himself and what's his name?
John Letterman or whatever. Fetterman, the
Fetterman,
dude from
thank you.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, that's what I
it's
was
like, dude,
thinking
this
of.
guy's a perfect, like, Theoden. He's a puppet that can be controlled from the outside.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember the video we were showing where the aide was, like, mouthing the words behind the senator as she was saying it?
Right. They're solidifying our case, and we're not even trying to make one.
I mean, yeah.
We're just like, all right, there's some shit going on where clearly y'all aren't saying, you're not writing the stuff that you're saying. You know, who did the Chinese Communist Party write this out for y'all?
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe it.
But this is definitely so wrong. How are the American people not looking at that? I saw that video.
Like, how is that person supposed to represent anybody? Look at Mitch McConnell having full-blown, like,
yes,
he's like having like dementia stares.
I saw.
Where he's like, I forget where I'm at. Like, and this is like,
he just stopped mid-sentence.
We're talking like 20 seconds, not like 3.
No, it was
like
long.
Sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation and I'll just look off and be like, I'm so freaking tired. I'm also thinking of 3 other things, and then whatever. And then I'm back to you, and I'm like, I don't care how socially awkward that was. I'm tired. I needed to take a break mentally, so I don't care. 20 seconds, it would be like, oh, you're dysfunctional. Oh, in front of cameras too.
As you were answering a question, he was gone.
Did you see the people shouting to retire when he showed up at the Kentucky thing the other day?
No.
Oh man, they were eating his lunch. They were like, retire. They're like telling this guy to get out of here.
I saw an article that said McConnell booed off stage. That must have been
what's happening is they essentially, the powers that be, whoever they are, have put these people in positions of power, so they don't want to lose the seat. It's the people, it's the puppet masters behind that are like, don't you give it up. I don't want to have to make 10 more weird under the table connections to a new candidate that's there so that I can control them the way that I need them to be controlled.
Exactly.
It was too hard to control the delivery route on your daughter's sister's thing so that we can get photographs of her committing adultery, and therefore we can use that against you. And it would be too hard to get all this dirt on a new person so we can control their votes.
Or even
that's what's happening, dude, and everybody knows it.
That's 100% with McConnell, McCarthy, even on the Republican side. That's what I don't know.
Everybody's bought.
I used to donate to the GOP. I had it as
I
an
can't
auto
believe
draft.
that. That's crazy because I believed in them too 10, 15 years ago.
Well, I had it on auto draft. That's how, and I would augment depending on if I had a good month of selling, right? And I would augment with $100 here and there on top of the monthly donation. And when the whole thing with 2020 happened and all these Republicans jumped ship and turned their back, Pence, I pulled that shit so fast. They keep sending me letters and I'm like, return to sender. You'll never get another dime of my money if y'all keep voting. And because it is the representatives that we voted for who are picking McConnell, McCarthy, Pelosi for the Democrat side, all these slime balls.
Right.
And
Who
then
do
they
I really
don't do
want?
anything.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
Get Marjorie up there. I'm not saying she's a saint in every category, but I like her the most so far.
We're not perfect.
You know, honestly, Rand Paul, I would like them to be in charge.
Yeah,
I would like them to be in charge of stuff, man.
But the thing is that they're sitting there picking these people. I'm not going to give you my money anymore on a hope that you'll do something. Because then when these people get in power, when we're like, all right, finally, okay, I didn't want you in the seat, but okay, you're going to hold this person accountable, this leftist, for doing this egregious thing, like sleeping with a Chinese spy or something like that. Are we going to at least look into it?
Right.
Yeah. We'll talk about looking into it. Then when it comes time, you know what? Let's just move on. And
right, there's other important things that are happening. It doesn't matter that he literally slept with a Chinese spy and could have compromised millions of secrets of Americans.
But next time, if he does it, we'll totally give him a good talking to, okay?
We'll care about this next time.
Yeah, so
Speaking of which, your taxes are going up by 3 times in November. Why? To help with climate change. It's the boogeyman that nobody's allowed to see but the politicians, and they can describe him to you.
Apparently they can save us.
Right, but you can't describe him yourself. You're not allowed to see him. You are not an expert, you silly gooses out there. And that's what the RossduhBoss Show is about, guys. Educating you that you too can be an expert because none of the people that you're listening to actually are. It's sad, but it's true.
It's freaking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Obviously, I don't even want to say doesn't have any education. She technically has a paper that said she has an education.
Yeah, but they hired her from a bar. She was their waitress.
Right, she was the
group of
bartender.
the think tank of people that were like, I've figured out the algorithm how to get people elected. You want to be our next guinea pig?
Right.
And she was like, sure. And they were like, cool.
But she is
By
not
the way, you're pretty.
Sharpest
Sounds better.
Exactly. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So,
sometimes because she's not the sharpest tool in the shed, she'll come out and say stuff that's actually like smart, like meaning normal. She'll be like, well, that's not fair that that's happening because they shouldn't be getting money. And you're like, oh, she didn't know that wasn't party line, guys. She wasn't supposed to say it, but she told the truth for a second.
She has had it. You're right. There are a couple times where she said that.
Yeah,
and
she let the
made
regular thought pattern of what she was like used to doing regular shit in life.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, if you feed the dog too much, it might get fat. And then she just happened to say something that's also rational, like in front of a microphone.
Right.
And everybody on the conservative side's like, see? And she's like, no, that's not what I meant. But it's just like, too late. You said the rational shit.
Exactly.
Anyways, everybody, hang in there. It's another crazy week, but I really am starting to see some hopeful stuff. Look at the hood vigilante justice. I'm not saying it's good, but it's good that people feel the same way you do about things and that they want to defend innocence of children. God bless you guys. Hang in there and remember.
And cutscene. Remember, finger guns.
I'm Mitch McConnell.
And remember, and just Mitch McConnell staring off into it for that should be the end.
Anyway, good episode, everybody. All right, much love.